Hi, my name is Jasmine, and this is the very first episode of Mookie Reviews. So, I decided to do this because I am a very avid book reader, hence the giant bookshelf behind me. It's not that big, but as you can see, there's lots and lots of books on there, and I love them, a lot of them, except for a select few that are covered up by these. Of course, I won't get into that, but I'm very critical of lots of things, including my own stuff, like my books that I write. But so I just decided to do this since I really enjoyed picking apart things. I sound so harsh and mean, but I really do enjoy like analyzing it and and looking at every aspect of it, and I don't know, it helps me enjoy the movies more and the books and stuff like that. So basically, this channel is going to have books, book reviews, TV show reviews, movie reviews, and yeah. Of course, it'll be more movies and books than the TV shows because I don't watch a whole lot of those. But there will be the occasional TV show, depending on if I get hooked on something, but probably not a whole lot of TV shows. I only get hooked on a few, and not all of them are even recent. But rest assured, there's a series that's going to be going on for the next few years that I will be reviewing, trust me, and I'll get into that some other time. So, I decided to kick this very first episode off with one of my favorite subjects, fantasy fiction, except this is in movie form. And I'm very sad to say that I have never ever read this amazing man's work that caused The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey to come into existence. It's the first part of the Hobbit movie trilogy. Of course, the Hobbit book is not a trilogy, it's just one book. But I'm sad that I haven't read any of Tolkien's work, but someday I will. Someday I definitely will read them, because I know they're very good literature, and considering their fantasy fiction, I probably end up reading them someday. And how I can tell if I don't like a book is if I don't finish it right away. Or a movie, although movies I just sit and watch it all in one shot. Anyway, so let's get to the review. The Hobbit. I went and saw it last weekend, and to say the least, I was very impressed with how well they did. And I think it rose a little bit above my expectations with this, and just hats off to you, Peter Jackson. You've done a great job. Excuse me, I keep clapping. I don't know why. I'm going to sit on my hands now. Peter Jackson, you have done an excellent job. You did such a great job with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I'm sad that I haven't read any of the books. Excuse me. But you've definitely rose above my expectations. If not a whole lot, but you definitely did. And I am I'm glad that I went and saw it, and it was definitely money well worth spent. Anyway, so, acting. All of them were really great. I cannot pick out one person that I thought had shallow lines, or was dumb, or had really bad deliverance. Of course, I don't know why I even thought that in the first place. But they were all very, very good. Of course, the stars were Bilbo, and then obviously Thorin Oakenshield, the leader of our company, Thorin Oakenshield, as Gandalf said in the trailer. Speaking of which, down in the description, right below my face, click on it if after you finish watching this. There's a link to the trailer. If you haven't seen any of the trailers at all, if you're not a moviegoer or anything like that, there's a trailer there. I guarantee you, if you go and see this movie, you will not be disappointed. Let's see, any other people I liked? Well, besides I kind of had a slight crush on some of the couple of younger ones. I believe younger dwarves. Let's see, what were their names? It was something like Millie and Tilly. Something like that. They were kind of cute guys. Of course, it's kind of something that kind of bothered me about that. They didn't exactly come off as dwarfish men. They weren't as bulky as the rest of them, and I don't know why, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm assuming they're just younger and less manly, if that makes any sense. They're not full grown yet. Of course, they are archers too, so that might be something to do with it. But I have nothing that I can pick out really about this movie that I didn't like. I wish I could in some ways, but I can't. Excuse me. I just loved that movie, and I was not disappointed, and I've been looking forward to this movie ever since I heard about it. Like, how long ago was it? I want to say 2 or 3 years ago I heard about The Hobbit. They're making it. They're making the movie, and I was like, oh, more Lord of the Rings? I was so excited. Of course, I still am, because the next 2 movies are coming out next year, and then the year after that. And it'll be such a great way for me to, like, celebrate, because I'm 16, so I will be graduating in the year 2014. And I think that's a fabulous way, because that's when the last movie will come out. I think that's a fabulous way for me to celebrate adulthood. Of course, it'll be probably a few months after my birthday, but still. Back to the movie, but you know, I just got pulled back into the world of Middle Earth and just everything about it, and I learned a lot of history about like how the ring got into Bilbo's hands and how all that chaos started that started the Lord of the Rings, and I learned a lot of history about it, and it was amazing being pulled back into Middle Earth. And clearly they traveled back to some of the same locations that the Lord of the Rings cast went to originally. So that made it all the more better. And that is one reason why I am so grateful that Peter Jackson took up the responsibility of making these 3 movies that are about the Hobbit. I don't think any of these movies will have been, well, of course I haven't seen the last 2, but this one, I don't think it would have been the same if someone else directed it. Of course, I would have gone and seen it, but I don't think it would have been as good as The Lord of the Rings. Of course, there's a possibility it might have been, but we'll never know. Either way, I am very grateful to you, Peter Jackson. That would be really cool if you actually watched this, but of course you probably won't, because I don't have that many views, but that's okay. You, Peter Jackson, hats off to you. I'm very, very grateful that you directed this film. And everything about it, I can't really pick out a whole lot of things that I didn't like. A couple things I'll pick out in a little bit. They're kind of spoiler-ish, which I will warn you about that once I get there. Everybody who's watching this, I will warn you before I start talking about the spoilers. Let's see, anything else? I don't think there's anything else besides that, but everybody was really great in the movie, and the actors were great. Of course, my favorite character was definitely Bilbo, but besides him, Thorin Oakenshield was one of my favorites, and he had a great backstory. I wish I would have gotten to know the other dwarves a little better, at least a couple of them, but I didn't, unfortunately. Kind of sad. Of course, Thorin Oakenshield is kind of the main focus besides Bilbo, but none of them really got the spotlight as much as Thorin. But you could tell that Thorin was an important character because of the amazing backstory he had and the struggles he's gone through. So, now I'm going to get to the spoilers. So, all of you watching, click on the homepage or go to another entirely different side of the web right now. I'm going to talk about spoilers. You gone? I will give you 3 more seconds. Okay, you better be gone. I hope you're gone because you don't want to spoil this. It's a great movie. Anyway, for any of you who have still seen this, movie and want to watch this, here we go. Okay, something that I had a bit of a qualm with when I watched the movie was the goblins. Why were they nude colored? I don't get that. Why? They didn't look anything like the original goblins from The Lord of the Rings. And what confuses me more is the fact that it's the same director, but they changed somehow. Plus, every single one of them... Excuse me, I'm yawning so much. I just don't get it, because not one of those goblins was, not one of them were real people. And in the original Lord of the Rings, they were. And you could tell that they were CG, which that's not my problem. It's just the fact that they look so different, and I just didn't get it, because they looked like an entirely different species of goblin, but clearly they were the same thing, I think. At least, they looked, I assume they were. But, I don't get why they changed the skin color, but that's okay. Let's see. The backstory of Thorin. That was really interesting. Of course, this plays into the predictability of it a little bit that I might have mentioned earlier. His backstory was really cool, and I really felt for him, and I could really feel like what he was going through. But I could predict immediately. Of course, usually I can pick out the villains right away, and that's kind of something you need to establish in a movie or a book, but I could pick out right away who the focus of this movie, and probably the second movie after, since I've seen the first one now, the second movie will definitely be focused on the White Orc, the White Orcs defeat. This movie was definitely focused on him, though, like, as the main villain. Of course, the bigger and broader quest was to get to Smaug, the dragon that has, forgive me for not remembering this city's name, but he captured the dwarven city that Thorin was the prince of and the heir to the throne under his father, and then the king, his grandfather. Smaug is living there during the movie, and under that, the White Orc, they have to defeat him, and that is where the climax of the movie is, with a big battle between them, and it's not a particularly large battle, but it is a battle and the climax of the movie nonetheless. And it was scary. And for a little bit there, I thought Thorin was gonna die, and I was like, what? I was pissed, and I was like preparing myself for the worst. And I was really worried that Peter was gonna do something bad. Of course, I'd never read the books, and I didn't know if Thorin was gonna survive or not, and I was just terrified that he wasn't, and I was scared. I was like, oh, please don't die, please don't die. And then when he finally woke up, and then when Gandalf finally waved his hand over his face and whispered that weird thing that he did in the last 3 movies of the Lord of the Rings, he waved his hand over his face, and he opened his eyes, and he was alive, and stuff like that. It just, that frightened me, and thank God he's still alive. I don't know what's going to happen to them in the end. For some reason, I have a really bad feeling that they're going to die or something. Don't spoil it for me. If any of you read the books, don't even think about it. Just please, don't. I'll end up reading it and then spoiling it, because I will monitor the comments if anyone leaves any. But please don't spoil it, okay? I really don't want to know unless I read the book myself. Let's see. Well, the one other predictable part that I picked out was the very end, when it's just after the battle, and Bilbo had just saved Thorin's butt from being chopped in half by a orc, evil little orc. That's when I thought Thorin was gonna die. But Bilbo stood up from the tree that was just about to fall over the edge of the cliff that they were on. And he stood up, and I swear, I thought he was going to put the ring on and then run off and with like being invisible, and then like slice the white orc's head off. But then, of course, he didn't do that. He jumped on the orc that was coming towards Thorin to kill him, and surprised him, and he's standing there going being awkward with his sword. Oh, he did such a good job. He didn't do that, of course, and then the eagles came in. That was cool. And sorry about that. That's my brothers. The eagles came and rescued them, of course, but the thing that was really predictable was the fact that when Thorin woke up and he's all, "Where's the Hobbit?" And Gandalf said, "Bilbo's fine, he's not hurt at all." Thorin got all pissed, and I was like, that's predictable. And I definitely predicted that blah blah blah, he'd get pissed, then he would say, "I'm so glad you saved me," and then hug him. I kind of predicted that, to say the least, because I've seen that before in movies. I just can't name them. I've seen like characters go after the other main character goes chop chop chop, save your life. Oh! I've seen that happen before, so I predicted that most definitely. And then I was pissed because the movie ended, and that's it. It ended, and then I was sad, and I groaned, and I have to wait another stupid, agonizing year. Maybe I should have that time in reading fantasy books. Let's see, anything else? I don't think there's really anything else that I can say about this movie. Spoiler-wise, I think one of my favorite parts was probably with the trolls. The 3 trolls. They were pretty funny. They were dorks, complete idiots, and definitely bird brains. I think one of my favorite parts, even though it was gross and it made me gag, was when one of the trolls took a hanky as Bilbo was trying to get the sword to cut the horses free after they took them and tried to eat them. He tried to get the sword free to cut them loose, and then the troll reached back at the same moment and grabbed his hanky with Bilbo and blew into the hanky with which Bilbo was in, and there was snot covering Bilbo, and he's all, "Look what came out of my nose! What is this?" That's something that I shouldn't laugh at, but I did. That's okay though. That was a great moment. And one of my other highlights was probably the whole Gollum thing, and this is good that I saved this for now, because I was going to mention it earlier, but this is definitely spoilerish, if you haven't read the book or seen the movie. But I think they did a really good job bringing him back, even though his eyes were like brighter than normal. They looked worse on my computer, like more bright than they should be, and more Elijah Wood's eyes. You know how naturally like bright blue they are? That's what they looked like on Gollum, and that looked a little wrong. At least on my computer screen it looked like that. But then when I went to see the movie, it wasn't as bad. Still kind of more blue than normal, but that's okay. I got over that. Gollum was funny, but he was like bleh, creepy sometimes. He's like, I don't want you to eat Bilbo. Bilbo's not a bad person. And Gollum was definitely very well taken care of in this movie, and I'm glad that they had excuse me for not remembering his name either. Andy Serkis, him. He produced the movie as well, but he did a good job reprising his role as Gollum. I'm sad that he probably won't be in the other ones, but that's okay. It was so sad though. It really broke my heart. I mean, Gollum broke my heart in the first 3 movies of Lord of the Rings, but when he was looking around for the ring and his tears started going down his eyes, I was like, my heart started breaking for the poor little guy. And I was glad Bilbo didn't chop his head off. Of course, I knew that wasn't going to happen. But this made my heart break. So much. Poor guy. One last thing. The actors that played the old Bilbo from The Lord of the Rings, and then the one that played him in this movie, they did a very good job matching their character portrayals with each other, and for the most part I think they were pretty well, very similar. There might have been a few differences in the way they were portrayed, but of course the older Bilbo's changed from the younger Bilbo, but that's okay, because that's what character development is. All in all, this was a fantastic movie, and it is not a waste of money. It is well worth the money to go see it, but I would not recommend going to see it in 3D, just because I think it might ruin the experience, possibly. Well, not ruin it. Depends on if you really like 3D movies or not, but I wouldn't really go see it in 3D, because I don't think it's really meant for 3D, and honestly the scenery was just magnificent, and I saw it in 2D, and it might just take away from that scenery if your eyes get fuzzy or something like mine does after a while, so I have to like take it off and kind of rub my eyes. And of course I love 3D movies. 3D movies are cool, but it'd probably be better if you saw it in 2D. Of course, it's just my recommendation, but still. So 3D or 2D, doesn't matter. It's definitely worth the money, story-wise. You will not be disappointed if you are a fantasy fan or if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. Even if you're not really a moviegoer, I'd say you'd be really enjoyed. And you'd really enjoy the movie, and it would be just a fantastic movie to go and see. So, links in the description about the movie and the trailer and anything else I will put in there about information of the movie, and yeah, that'd be about it. Overall, I'd rate this movie probably, oh what the heck, I'll say 10 stars. It was a great movie, and other than those few qualms that I can overlook, it's definitely worth every single penny, and I'm definitely buying it on like Blu-ray or a combo pack or something. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this probably really long review, depending on, I'll see how long it is, but thanks for watching if you actually stuck through this entire thing. Thanks for bearing with me. I'll work on the format of my videos from now on, but thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you also enjoy The Hobbit. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, what your opinion on it is, and whether or not you liked it, if you think it sucked or whatever. But let me know what you think of it, and I will see you guys later. Next video will be next week, probably on the same day, Friday. So, see you guys later. Bye!